If you, like many others, were left a little bit unsatisfied with the new Mansions DLC and you were expecting it to have a bit more content, then trust me, you're not alone. Because thanks to the efforts of some very competent data miners in the GTA 5 online community, we now know exactly what Rockstar is about to release in the coming months, or at least until June 2026, which is when we should get the next DLC for the summer season. And I won't claim to know everything that will be released via the drip feed just because of these leaks, but I can guarantee you that these new vehicles, jobs, and adversary modes in this video will be a big part of that unreleased content from the Safe House in the Hills DLC. So with that in mind, here's 7 big updates that are coming soon to GTA Online. But before we actually talk about all of these leaks, I'd like to thank Offmall, Text2, Lucas7Yoshi, and Arthur1781, as they're the ones who released all of this juicy info on the upcoming drip feed content, so definitely go check out their pages on Twitter afterwards. As for when we can expect to see all of this stuff in the game, it really depends here. Some of it will probably be rolled out in the coming weeks and months, the rest is seasonal. So for example, events tied to St. Patrick's Day or Valentine's Day will only be available during those special event windows, but it's safe to say that all of this should be out before the big summer update of 2026, as that will probably introduce its own set of vehicles and maybe businesses or a heist or some mission set to go along with everything. Alright then, let's start things out by talking about the unreleased vehicles, what they are and how much they're gonna cost, because some folks have managed to glitch these into the game or mod them into the game already, and we even know the prices for each vehicle. If you're a fan of sports classics, you're probably gonna love this first car, which is the Pfister Astrale, and it's essentially a resto mod of the Porsche 928, and you can see that while it doesn't have a crazy amount of customization options, it's still more than what we got with some of the current cars like the Sentinel XS4 and the Grotti GT750. There are plenty of lights, hoods, splitters, side skirts, liveries, spoilers, and exhausts for you to play with on the Pfister Astrale, and it already looks really good in its base configuration, especially that rear end, which is the part you look at the most while driving. And I have to say folks, this is one of the best rear ends that I've seen in GTA Online. I think that this car is going to be a really popular choice once it releases, and at $1,475,000, it's one heck of a bargain compared to the total piece of crap that the Pfister Extreme is. Next, we've got the Grotti Italy Classic, which is another sports classic, and this one's a bit pricey at $2 million. However, for that money, consider what you're getting here. A pristine Ferrari 308 GTB that's pretty much a one-to-one copy of the real thing, and the attention to detail here is super obvious because when you open the frunk, inside there's a spare tire underneath, just like the real thing. And when you open up the rear hatch, you can see that gorgeous mid-mounted Ferrari flat plane crank V8 in all of its glory. This one's an older version with a carburetor, and what makes this engine even cooler is that it's transversely mounted like the actual 308 GTB engine. I think Rockstar kind of fumbled the engine options with the Sentinel XS4, which is supposed to be a BMW E39 5 Series, but they gave it this inline 6 model instead of the V8 that would normally be found under the hood of the M5. However, they did redeem themselves with the Italy Classic. Just like the Sentinel XS4, this car sounds wonderful, and it is a pleasure to drive even when unmodified and fully stock, but once you slap on those level 4 EMS and turbo upgrades, it turns into a totally different beast with insane torque, lots of high-end power, and the whole package just feels light and nimble, so anytime you want to change directions, all you have to do is lightly push the analog stick on your controller, and the car goes exactly where you need it to go. And then there's this piece of work, which is the Shitsu Katora, aka a Suzuki Carry. This little rascal is supposed to be a K-Truck, the first of its kind in GTA Online, and while it's fairly affordable at just $810,000, you shouldn't necessarily expect to go very fast in one of these, because A, it has a 57 horsepower 1-liter engine, and B, those skinny little tires don't have a lot of grip, which means that if you ever get into a race with your Katora, your opponent will leave you in the dust as he laughs his way to the finish line, thinking of how cute your little truck looks. However, there is a drift tune for this truck, so it will probably find its true place in the drifting scene of Los Santos. I don't really expect it to dethrone the likes of the ZR350 or the Futo GTX, but it'll definitely be a nice change of pace from the usual drift machines that we see, especially with the customization options for the truck bed in this thing, where you can put everything from a giant Sprunk cup to nitrous bottles in the back. Just imagine one of these things rolling around with custom skirts, a giant wing sticking out the back on an exposed metal frame, and a whole bunch of nitrous bottles strapped to the cab. I mean, sure, you're only doing like 60 miles an hour, power, but you're gonna look really cool. And looking cool is what matters the most in GTA 5 Online, until some douchebag with an oppressor gets bored and decides to blow up your little K-truck. And when something like that happens, you might need to call the cops to deal with the offender. And there's a chance that your cops are gonna show up in one of the 2 new police cars that have been leaked. First, we've got the Buffalo S Cruiser, which is basically Franklin's Buffalo S with a police livery and some lights strapped on top of it. It's also got some nice police equipment on the inside and your typical police customization options like specialized wheels, but overall, it's just a Buffalo S and it'll probably be a bit faster, hopefully, but I doubt it'll be enough to make a difference. Anyway, you're still gonna pay the Rockstar police tax, even though this isn't all that special of a vehicle in terms of functionality or even protection, so I recommend saving up $4,435,000 for when this thing finally makes it into the game, because that's how much it'll cost on Warstock Cash and Carry. And if you've done Vincent's new dispatch work mission to unlock the trade price, you'll be charged just $3.3 million for the privilege of owning a brand new Buffalo Cruiser. By the way, I'll talk about the dispatch work missions later. It's not in the game right now, so don't go looking for it. It's drip feed content. And if you think the Buffalo Cruiser is overpriced, wait till you see the STX Pursuit, which costs an eye-watering $5,370,000. With the trade price, it's still $4 million. Now you might be thinking, I really like the Buffalo STX. It is one of the best Amani Tech cars in the game after all. Maybe I should grab the police version too, even though it costs a lot more. And that's fine, but here's the thing. The regular STX lets you install additional armor plating from your Amani Tech workshop, which gives it really good explosive resistance. It can tank up to 12 homing missiles and 4 RPGs, plus it has bullet resistant windows as well. And while the STX Pursuit retains the missile lock-on jammer and bullet resistant glass, it doesn't have that armor plating option, which means that it's a lot worse than the regular STX in public free roam lobbies, despite costing over twice as much. I think that's a massive oversight on Rockstar's part, but it's still not a bad vehicle, just a little bit underwhelming for the price, obviously. Also, this is the exact same Buffalo STX Pursuit model that we saw in the GTA 6 trailer, as well as this official screenshot right here. So in a way, I guess it's the first new GTA 6 car that we can drive in GTA Online. Next, let's talk about the new dispatch work mission that you'll need to do if you want to unlock the trade prices on these police cars and save yourself millions of dollars. It's called Protective Custody, and in it, you're escorting a corrupt cop. Vincent thinks he can make this guy spill the details on the criminals that he was working with, and it's your job to make sure that the prisoner gets to Bolingbroke Penitentiary safely. Everything goes smoothly until you get on the freeway in your police transporter van, and Vincent suddenly informs you that there's a bomb attached to the underside of the vehicle. It'll explode if you drop below a minimum speed, so basically the same as those vehicle cargo missions, but there's a twist. You also have to solve a hacking minigame while driving, and this one's lifted straight out of the Oscar Guzman finale. Overall, it's a pretty simple mission as there's no enemy resistance, and you should be able to do it on your first try with no problem. We also have 3 new odd jobs coming. First one's called Paperboy, and in this one, you drive around throwing newspapers at people's front porches. It's similar to the Acid Lab delivery, but it also reminds me of the paper route missions from Bully. Don't know if any of you guys have played that game, but it was on PlayStation 2, and it was really good. One of Rockstar's most underrated games ever, I think. Payouts for delivering all 10 newspapers is just under $30,000, and it's not bad for a quick influx of cash if you're a new player, but I assume it's primarily for world immersion if you're a longtime player, and that's not really something you can grind to make real money, honestly. Then there's the Firefighter job, which uses an unused cat interaction animation from the mansion itself. So Lucas7Yoshi on Twitter found this unused animation where your character can pick up the cat, and it was split into 2 files. Later, he mentioned that one of the cat pickup animations is also duplicated in the unreleased Firefighter missions, where you can go inside of a house and pick up a civilian who's trapped behind the fires. Finally, we have the forklift operator job, so you can come back after your hard day of work and sit down to play some GTA Online, where you do even more hard work. Once again, it won't pay much, only around $25,000 to $30,000 with the bonuses if you load all the various crate types from the warehouse, but it's still a fun side activity to do once or twice before you eventually get bored and go back to grinding Kaio for the 10,000th time. Also, we actually have a new random event called the Getaway Driver in the game right now, so if you see this blue dot on your map, drive over and you'll be able to assist a robber in getting away from the cops, and it'll pay you $25,000. You can also just kill him and grab his money, but you'll only get $10,000 and no RP. For seasonal events, we've got a new Valentine's Day special encounter in the game where you can come across this cheater who's been tied to a pole, and in the background you can see his car that's been set on fire by his wife, and if you free him, you get some cash, or you can just rob him instead and leave him to suffer. It's similar to the Stagdo Running Man encounter from story mode, and for St. Patrick's Day, we also have 2 new collectibles. First, you've got this green clover treasure hunt where you'll be rewarded $5,000 for each green clover you break, and there are 25 in total. If you find all 25, you'll get a cash bonus as well as the lucky clover outfit. And in addition to these green ones, during St. Patrick's Week itself will also get daily golden clovers that pay $25,000 cash, and if you open one of them, you'll get the golden clover outfit. For our brand new adversary mode, we'll be getting a mansion raid that is creatively called Mansion Raid, and in it, I'm guessing we'll raid other players' vaults. You know, the giant vaults packed full of cash and gold in the basement of your mansion. Also, there's a bomb planting and bomb defusal animation in there, and we know the adversary mode will have two teams in it, aggressors and defenders. So it's basically Counter-Strike or Search and Destroy in GTA Online. Should be pretty exciting once it comes out, and I suspect it'll quickly become one of the more popular adversary modes in the game, honestly. There's also going to be a brand new stoner survival mode, which is similar to the Liquid Assets Fooligan job. If you complete the survival mode as well, you'll get the High Life 420 outfit. We also have a bunch of cut content from the new mission creator. There are apparently shark attack animations hidden in there, which were found by Offmall on Twitter, and we also have some code in the mission creator that might allow us to play as pedestrians or as Franklin and Lamar, because both Franklin and Lamar were added to GTA Online as playable characters in 2021 with the contract update. And we also had the Drug Wars missions where we could also play as an armed seagull or a giant rabbit. So if those functions could be added to the current mission creator, maybe they'll even let us play as Michael or craft our own missions with these story characters. That would be super cool. Obviously, the voice acting won't be there, and I don't know how they make it work with story characters who don't speak, but the 3D models alone would make for some fun, unique, user-generated mission types, that's for sure. And lastly, we've got an interesting little tidbit from TezFun2 on Twitter. So he found out earlier in December that No Way Out was originally called Sahara Surveillance. Sahara is a parody of Amazon, and it's set to be introduced with GTA 6 as this massive international shipping and logistics company. So many people are speculating that Rockstar's OG plan was to port our GTA 5 online character over to GTA 6 by using the Sahara Surveillance heist as sort of a connection between the two universes. But with the delays and whatnot, they must have had to repurpose the whole thing into its own separate storyline and make it part of the December DLC. We also have this text from Jimmy, which we were supposed to receive shortly after the Michael cutscene where Amanda mentions that their son is finally moving out of the house, but we didn't get this text because it's either bugged or that whole storyline was also shifted forward into part 2 of the DLC. Either way, it could be a tease about Jimmy making his appearance in GTA 6 since he's moving out of state. Who knows? Fans love to speculate. But anyways, those are all the leaks and major info tidbits that I have for the Mansions DLC right now and all of the upcoming content that's coming soon. What are your thoughts on the Safe House in the Hills DLC? I already did a review of it earlier, but do you think that Rockstar was right to split it up with drip feed content like this, or are they just buying some time so they can focus their resources on a larger GTA Online update featuring Mr. Faber as a Devin Weston type villain sometime in the summer? I'd love to know your thoughts down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Drop a like if you enjoyed this video and found it informative. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new and you want to see more GTA Online content like this. Feel free to check me out over on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram, specifically twitch.tv/hazardoushtv for more GTA Online money grinding live streams. I upload daily YouTube shorts, Instagram Reels, and TikToks as well, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios, amigos.